with a lot of
63
people.
because it's July, people is on holidays.
That's true, but it's actually a lot of people who don't watch it live, but then who kind of watch it during the week. So it's like just trying to get Lady here. Safe thing, maybe she should. We are already, yes, you are showing a nipple already because you're already on Facebook. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. From the Sunday matinee, the morning here at the Quinta. Well, today we are 3, and somehow bizarrely, this is the 3rd edition, and Benedict is missing. So it feels a little bit we are breaking with tradition, but we have amazing people with us for staying at the land. So thank you so much. Big thank you for staying on the land, for helping on the land. You know, we'll later on talk a little bit about what we already did. Just to introduce Gadir and David or David. David. And I'm Stefan, of course. And so just to bring us a little bit in the room that day, before bringing us in the room, maybe I should say, you know, you've brought some amazing thing. We'll talk a little bit about the Quinta. We have a fantastic poem coming up, so stay tuned. But first, tune in by just really having like a very short idea kind of coming into the room. So just very nicely kind of just maybe kind of just sit back a little bit in your chair. You may want to lower your gaze for like 1 or 2 seconds. And again, I just invite you to just take a deep breath in together. A deep breath out. And just listen for like 10 seconds to all these amazing sounds around you. And once you've heard the sounds, let's just all come back with a big breath in and out. And then welcome to the space. And welcome to you, beautiful people. Thank you. And this is a little bit of localization, actually, where we are. Because we're still roving around the Quinta, because the circle is still very, very sunny, and the weather here is very, very sunny. So we're always seeking shade. And this is actually a super nice place to seek shade, because if you're looking, I'm trying to point this out, and it's somewhere exactly on your head. So yeah, there it is. Around here, this is a lovely little grove full of olive trees that we have very close to Community House. And all of the olive trees have a little QR code on them. And this was a project that initiated in work week 1 and was completed in work week 2, where all of the trees here have a little poem attached to them, and or some part of literature. It can also be a text. And actually you can scan the code, and then you can listen to the poem. Some are Portuguese, some are international, some are in English, some are in Portuguese. And so in a way, this invites you to kind of come to the space and listen to poems. And we're going to have a poem in a moment. And then maybe after all of this, I talk about the other piece of Quinta artists. You know, kind of there's a lot of art and creation on the Quinta at the moment, particularly. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. Maybe first I just hand over to Gadir, who's brought a very special offering. I feel very honored about it, about a poem, which I haven't heard myself, but I know it sort of touches a lot of topics that we're here today. So over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, when I opened my eyes, it was beautiful to see the place and to hear the sounds. And I'm very grateful for being a guest here, being received so warmly. And that's why this poem is somehow in relation to that. So I hope you enjoy it, because I really, really like it. It moves a lot in me. It's called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. If they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. By Rumi.
Thank you.
What an amazingly beautiful poem. And I think I really appreciate also the thought that went into this poem and selecting it and in a way dedicating it to this space. And I think sort of maybe one of the things might be to kind of just go around amongst ourselves and ask, what does it mean to be in this space for you? So you've been here now almost a week, more or less. You've been here one day, really. One day and a little bit. I've been here for a long time. So maybe going against the chronological order, if that's okay with you, then kind of like picking on you first. What does it mean for you to be in a ecoqueer space, an experimental space where all this sort of thing comes together,
Comes to my mind when I closed my eyes and I put myself in the middle of such a spaceship. For me, it's like, as you said, it's an experimental space. So I bring the experiment to my mind, to my body, to my experience, to be part of it. And it comes many questions. So it's like how, as an activist, I can take the theories that I learn in this experimental space to my other spaces, to my family, for instance. Again, when I close my eyes, I feel the nature is within me when I drink the water of the land. That is already activism. It's like to be able of drinking the water that provides the land where we live. It's already such a deep experience, because you take literally nature and you put it in your body, in your cells, and it's transforming your ideas. It's transforming your behavior, because you are literally nature. When we are able, you see that I collect every time that I go to whatever place, no, like herbs or things that grows in the space, and I introduce it into the infusion, into the food, or we create the alchemy of implementing the way of living of the space, and I can extrapolate it to other places. Like, but for me, the most important thing is like, if I can bring the change first of all to myself and to my family, that is the core of the thing. Like, okay, other people might be permeable or not, but if I'm able to be dressed as with my mother things in the garden of my mother, for instance, this is a truly activism. No, to be able to take the leather jacket of my mom from the 80s, and she's like, what are you doing with that? It's too hot in the springtime. But it's like, let me garden with that. And it creates already a shock. It's like breaking the patterns of heteronormativism, homonormativism also, because she might believe what it is, what is not. And it's like breaking again and again and again as an activist, the way of thinking of the others, just because I truly believe that eco-queer villages can break so many patterns of ideas that we bring from outside. So the fact of being able to take these ideas to the outside, to the parallel universe that we are living outside. And this is the main thing, the main idea that I bring to my to my body, to myself, and being able to break the main division that is, in my case, the idea of the mother.
Okay, yeah.
Once the mother is already in communion with this idea, then I don't really mind. I can go away and take theories to other spaces. So this is so inspirational, I would say. And I really want to give thanks to the many people that is making this possible. Not only Stefan that is here as a person, but the land that is providing holding a space for us to be the person in the laboratory to experiment with that, and bring these ideas to maybe create a new project in, I don't know, I'm from Spain, but I live 1 hour away. It's like, who knows in the future when I have all this experience in my cells to bring a new experiment like that and bring it to life and be also an example like you guys are, like you people are. So thank you. It's heart touching and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Feels like a hard follow-up to follow, but what about you? What do you feel when you're here?
So it's definitely hard to put in words or everything one is feeling and sensing. But I think that my experience here is witnessing how the world could look like. You know, I mean, where I work or what I do, we're desperately fighting against certain schemes, however you call it, and you can put any name, capitalism, patriarchy, whatever. But then I feel there is a need to create things, and even more in the, to call it one way, the queer world, you know, the LGBTIQ, and to go even in the LGBTIQ world, to go out of the mainstream of what is known, you know, to challenge us to go beyond that. So definitely for me, it's beautiful to experience something that then first is not dogmatic, you know, it's not the truth, but is, as it's stated, an experiment to keep moving, to keep challenging us, but in a beautiful way, you know, in a kind way, in a soft way, in a challenging so many stereotypes about community, about money, about these, food, etc. But in a kind way, you know, without this fight and going against everything. So it's definitely for me an inspirational, like, and yeah, I'm definitely very glad because I want to do my own project in Bolivia, the queer ecoqueer, however it's called. So it's definitely a beautiful experience to see, to witness, to be here, to see the things, to share with the people. Just a beautiful gift. And yeah, I mean, the welcoming has been amazing. And in the expected ways, to say in a way, and in the unexpected ways. And yeah, I just also want to join the thankfulness to Stefan who's here, but all the people who are working and dreaming, and I guess struggling, of course, at some point, you know, figuring out things, etc. But yeah, keep going.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe I feel in this awkward position now that I'm kind of thinking, should I say something about how I feel or not, or kind of stay the outside? But I don't think I want to stay all too neutral on this, because I think it's we've sort of gone a little bit from sort of, you know, like shortly a little bit longer and now very long. And I think that very long, I think it is almost like it's a big appreciation to everybody who's coming here, because setting up this project originally, I wasn't sure how many people would turn up, how many people would be part of it. And of course, we were out yesterday evening and somebody asked, how many people have you had already? And I said, I have no idea. I lost count, because there have been more than 30, 40 people who've gone through here in the last, whatever, 6, 7 really months of where we are in sort of like in a position to operate.
maybe a model.
And I think, everybody is very grateful that they've been here. I think I've often get very much, appreciations from people like from you, and I really appreciate them. But I also have to give it back, because I have to say, like, it's, just the thought of every morning waking up with a bunch of interesting people in your house, and it's not my house, of course, but it's the community's house. But, kind of, I know I just go out at, we have at 8 o'clock, we have sort of a Monday all day check-in. And you're going to have coffee with, researchers, with people who are doing things, with activists. It's just amazing, and it's mind-blowing in many ways, because, I think there's no single evening. I still plan to have a movie night at one stage. I always wanted to instigate a movie night, and it sort of has happened on once or twice, but really once or twice, because actually nobody ever gets to a point of having a movie night. And there's always this kind of idea, who would you like to have an offering in the evening, do something so that we need to do something. And actually, realistically, if I think about it, 80% of the evenings, we just end up sitting at the table until very late, discussing ideas. And this vibrancy of the space is incredible. And then, of course, being in a space where so many people have contributed so many things, like the Poets Grove, like, again, like one of the newer pieces that we have is a little bird cage, which used to be on the farm. There used to be a bird in there that was, supposedly kind of singing, although, there's birdsong from all around. And now it's been forced open as an artwork. It has a poem inside, and, it just shows you, how good it is to liberate yourself. Of course, the other thing I kind of totally appreciate here is kind of seeing people dressing, behaving in a way that maybe they want to experiment, and that they are feeling that they can do it. It's an amazing thing. And also for me, of course, it's the same kind of thing. I can do and be myself without any kind of judgment. And you just mentioned something interesting before I kind of go all the way up and kind of, here in 3 hours, and I'm still kind of going on about kind of how grateful I am about all this kind of amazing thing. You said something about there's a lot of expected ways and unexpected ways. And I thought maybe, is there something that you would say kind of like, this was really unexpected when I came here? I didn't expect this to happen, or just to see this, or...
Well, I mean, definitely most of it was unexpected. I mean, the expected was the ecoqueer that I got a lot, from the conversations and everything, and seeing here. But the unexpected, the small details that are beautiful, but I'm calling them small. Maybe I shouldn't call them small. The food. How to deal with the food. Like, can I cook? Can I not cook? Can I do this? Can I do that? The welcoming, the dressing, the celebration. I don't know. I mean, I can name so many. Yeah, but it's not things that it's in your head, because every place looks totally different to one another, right? So it's things like, oh wow, or these pieces, like you were mentioning, these pieces of art that you value. I mean, I can see it in that you value a lot, and it's beautiful because they are beautiful, definitely. It's like, oh, well, it's nice, Those things I would say.
Oh, thank you. Anything unexpected for you?
I think the unexpected thing for me is how radically I normalize this way of life. So I've been surprised of how I introduced the queer nature in my inside. So it was unexpected that it was so normalized into my cells and my DNA. So I'm been so surprised that it's so. I don't like the word normal because it sounds normative, but I create the normativism out of queerness, out of nature, out of how it behaves in myself. So I'm surprised of how well is working. Thank you. Yeah, and bring also joy of change. Not only your life, not only my life, but others bringing experience. No, so bringing with the joy of change. So many people has this resistance to change.
Yeah.
But if we bring the joy, the happiness to the fact of we are changing, we need change. Better we implement it with happiness and knowing that we can bring beautiful experiences. And no, you wake up in the morning, it's like, what are we changing today? What am I stopping today? So this, yes. Thank you for asking. I have flowers for you.
Oh,
Oregano flowers. It's oregano in flower, blossoming. So it's beautiful.
Thank you. And this is really amazing because it's exactly like our principle, right? It's from the earth. It's amazing.
And we can cook with it.
And we can cook with it. So that's thank you.
Also, Lady likes it, right, Lady?
Yeah.
Hello.
She's going to start to eat some of it, which is a bit interesting. But I like one of the things, and I maybe kind of to wrap this up, you talked about change, and you talked about that I like the artwork, and I realized we're having one artwork we haven't talked about in the back, and it's here. Benedict, we found it. And this is really one of the kind of things which really embodies actually both of the kind of things that you were saying. It's sort of like a little bit interrupting your, but in a very gentle way. Yeah, it's green. It's not kind of suddenly pink or purple or something. But it's one of those kind of super nice artworks that we have here on the Quinta, and it's actually changing. So it's moving. It's a chair that you can take around wherever you like it, and then generally, you know, kind of somebody will find it and take it somewhere else because wherever they like it. And so we are creating, you know, lots and lots of spaces around the Quinta where you can sit for a while and, you know, look at the chair. This is a Lazuli project, obviously last moved by Benedict. I should also point out that the Poet's Grove is a John's project. And that, of course, yeah, you know, as you're saying, like, I think the Quinta, one of the things is this experimental space. So let's try something out, right? And kind of go for it and see what happens. And some things are becoming suddenly radically, you know, this kind of expression of everything that the Quinta stands for, a little bit like a chair, I think a little bit like the Poet's Grove. That said, one of the items that we always have is talking about what we did this week. I think, again, this was a super great week. What we did. So last week we had the rather sad incident that one of our oldest fruit trees fell. Unfortunately, some of our neighbors have also reported that older trees have fallen, probably because it's so dry. So, you know, ranging from olive trees to fruit trees. There's been report about the oak trees, which we have here at the Quinta as well, are dying because of drought in Portugal. So water conservation is seriously a very, very, very important kind of thing. And, you know, rethinking maybe kind of planting species that take enormous amount of water, or, you know, if you have, may also auto seed. But one of the things we did, the Quinta came up with this idea of grafting it and propagating from the fallen tree, which we have done. So there's now 10 small apricot trees there, and we've grafted some apricot on, actually it's a peach tree. So that hopefully this will survive and remain here as one of these really old kind of things. We have the gates to the vegetable garden, which are finished. And that's a particular project of Benedict and Natalie, particularly Benedict, and this is now finished, and they look absolutely amazing. And I didn't take them here, but I promise next Sunday I will be there. And we've done an amazing job together, which I love to have pushed out, because we had all this planning at the Quinta about having 3 vegetable gardens, which we'll go over on this side. Which are interconnected vegetable gardens, which lead you on a nice path along the stream. And we've been doing a whole lot of planning and measuring and trying to figure out where the terraces are, how the terraces are, which state the terraces are, what we need to do. So these are terrace vegetable gardens. So thank you. So that was a hard task, right? In the middle of the sun. And yeah, we had a whole bunch of really exciting meetings this week. In particular, we had a really lovely social meeting where you were there already, and it was kind of nice to be joined by a lot of people, also people who haven't been here before but who are coming to visit. So which was nice. I think it felt really nice to see the people in this meeting and to interact with them already. We had dinner at the same time, and it was a lot of fun. And one of the really fantastic things that came out of it was, and I hope we get a kind of a post about it out now, is that there is, which I wasn't aware of, but there is a pronoun, Kim, which actually combines beings such as plants and animals and humans at its core. And I was really, really touched by that, and really, I hope we can implement a whole lot of that here, at least at the Quinta, because we're constantly struggling with kind of like not othering plants and bring them back into our life, or othering animals. And so it seems like somebody has heard the call, or probably heard the call before the Quinta was there, but there is this kind of amazing kind of thing. And obviously he wants to say something about that as well. Next week we are kind of going full steam ahead with Vegetable Garden 3 or 2, depends on which plan you look at. An experimental space. So we may kind of like end up with Vegetable Garden 5, something completely different. But we're not more planning on it, and kind of actually starting to kind of think about kind of how we are doing it, particularly with the watering system. It's quite a large project, so that would be nice. There is, in terms of meetings next week, there is the book club on Monday, which is an amazing place, even if you haven't read the book. I shouldn't say you should never read the book. That's totally wrong. Because the books are amazing, but you can actually take part even without having read the book. And then just join with the next book. Then there's also on the 8th of August, there is a tea in the, not sure if we're allowed to do this.
Censor.
There's a tea in the garden at 5 p.m., which is a lovely, it's a little bit like this. It's just everybody's talking to everyone. 18th of August, there's a welcome meeting, followed by a social. So if you have attended a welcome meeting, this is how it works, by the way. If you have attended a welcome meeting or have been here at the Quinta, then you get invited to the social. If you don't get invited to the social, but you have done one of the two things, please send me an email. Because then you probably forgot to put you on the list. Also, the call is out for the food week. That's our next sort of work week, which is starting on the 18th of September. And the work week number 3, which will look at a lot of things on the vegetable garden and that particular arena, is on the 2nd to the 9th of October.
A full agenda.
I know. It's great. I'd particularly when you kind of take on top of it, like, because of course, well, once you've been to the welcome meeting, everybody here might have been to the welcome meeting, but you know all the, showing your nipple. You need to go little stars on it. It always reminds me of a kind of a lovely show. Like, this was like 1990s, I guess, 1980s. It was the first sort of strip show on German TV, and it was bizarrely European themed. So you got always kind of this Italian and this Spanish and whatever, and then they would all kind of eventually they would kind of go deep, and they always had fruits, and I think it was called Tutti Frutti. I don't know. Every time I see something
like, for the next Sunday.
The next Sunday will be Tutti Frutti. Actually, I like this. Should be going into fruit season. So that's like a really good idea. Thank you. We'll have that. And we'll have mountain here next week, which is kind of like great. So that will be fantastic. So we'll do fruits and gates. I shall take a note of it. Yeah, and we are now going for brunch at the Quinta. So hopefully you have a nice start, and depends on where you are. Maybe you're already almost on Monday at the today. Yeah. We have this. We have an artist way group, I should say, which meets for us here tonight, and it's made up of people from Australia, Europe and the US. And it's always fantastically funny because, yeah, the Australian are, kind of, you see the sunrise behind them. And they're amazing because, they're really turning up like in the middle of the morning for them. And then, you get the Americans are sort of midday. So, sort of like early afternoon often. And of course, we're kind of in the evening. So it's really lovely to kind of have this and actually lovely places. A closed thing, so it doesn't appear on the website, but there will be another artist very soon. But that's the sort of thing where you kind of go like, wow, kind of like the Quinta is really quite global in many kind of things. Although we are based in, what some people would entitle like the end of the road, at least for Portugal. But the good thing is, as soon as you just do one step over, there's another country, another world, and it's like so easy. I think that's a nice kind of thing to end on.
Yeah, definitely. This depends on perspectives, right?
Well, we're getting visitors from Bolivia, so
yeah, of course. So far.
yeah. So yeah, maybe just a big thank you to everyone. A big thank you to you also for participating. Thank you for the poem, and yeah, see you next weekend for Tutti Frutti from the Quinta.
The first
Thank
Quinta.
you. Bye bye.